Ladies and gentlemen, today it's time to talk about something that excites me a lot, something I've been genuinely looking forward to sharing. Basically, the future of the Witcher saga as we know it. And believe me, things look promising. So promising, in fact, that I feel almost obligated to sit down and dissect the situation point by point. I want to explore several areas where I believe The Witcher 4 has the potential to elevate the formula, to carry the torch further than ever before, and maybe even redefine what we think the series can be. So, get comfortable because this conversation is worth savoring. Let's begin. First, let's set the stage with a quick recap for anyone who might be a little lost in the shuffle of announcements, leaks, and speculation. In The Witcher 4, we will take control of none other than Ciri as the true successor to Geralt. She's stepping into the spotlight, not just as the narrative heir, but also as a Witcher herself, with all the weight and symbolism that carries. That alone is monumental, but that's not the only big change. CD Projekt is moving away from the proprietary engine they've used multiple times in the past, and they're transitioning instead to Unreal Engine 5. This change isn't just technical jargon, it's about speed, about efficiency, about building vast and detailed worlds faster and with more flexibility. And honestly, this shift inspires a strange mix of confidence and cautious optimism in me. On the one hand, I can't deny that CD Projekt's old engine delivered incredible results. Just look at Cyberpunk 2077 in its current polished state. The cityscapes, the light effects, the density, it's a powerful showcase. Their in-house technology was capable of wonders. But on the other hand, none of us want to wait another decade to get our hands on a new Witcher entry. So while part of me is sentimental about their old tools, the pragmatic side of me feels relief. And to be fair, that technical demo we've seen in Unreal 5 looks, in a word, breathtaking. Of course, it's important to temper expectations. The game won't look exactly like that demo in its entirety, especially not on a base PS5. That kind of vertical slice is always a bit aspirational, but still it's a sign of intent, a proof of concept. And rest assured, the final product will go through countless changes. Now, one of the things I absolutely adored about the demo, and really about all the promotional material we've seen so far, is the clear effort to retain the soul of The Witcher. The atmosphere feels intact. That signature color palette, the gritty environments, the faces that look worn and human rather than flawless and plastic, it all resonates with the tone we've come to expect. The new installment doesn't abandon its roots, instead it updates them with sharper realism. And for me, that balance is everything. The saga has always been about mood as much as mechanics, and it's reassuring to see that essence respected. When it comes to story, the early signs point toward another raw, complex, and sprawling narrative. That's music to my ears. I even caught wind of rumors that the studio has been eyeing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for inspiration. Its mission structures, its mechanics, its intricate design philosophy. I can't say for certain if that's true, but the mere idea that CD Projekt is paying attention to such a robust and detailed RPG gives me hope. It suggests ambition, a desire to create something not just entertaining, but meaningful, layered, and rich in depth. And honestly, that's exactly what I want from The Witcher 4. Of course, one of the biggest questions floating around is whether Geralt himself will appear. Officially, CD Projekt has stated no. But if you ask me, that answer is a polite misdirection. I'm almost sure we'll see him. In some form or another, Geralt will return. It just makes too much sense. Think about it. Perhaps as part of a small side quest, maybe in a special quest line where Ciri can cross paths with him. Developers rarely spoil surprises of that magnitude in an interview, so naturally they're going to play coy. But the idea of Geralt quietly tending his vineyard, living his well-earned retirement, only for Ciri to seek him out, whether for advice, for a contract that requires his expertise, or even just a heartfelt moment, that feels almost inevitable. And beyond fan service, it would be a powerful way to honor one of the most fundamental characters in the saga's history. Now let's turn our attention to what for me is one of the most intriguing aspects, the combat. We haven't seen anything concrete yet, but I'm willing to place a bold bet here. I firmly believe The Witcher 4 is going to deliver combat that truly shines. Combat that addresses what many considered the weaker point of The Witcher 3. Don't get me wrong, Witcher 3's combat wasn't bad, but it wasn't groundbreaking either. Functional, stylish at times, but not unforgettable. In this new game, I suspect they're going to swing for the fences. Picture it. Fluid swordplay, visceral strikes, varied signs. Perhaps new mechanics layered in to reflect Ciri's unique fighting style. I expect a system that feels dynamic and rewarding, something that raises the adrenaline rather than just fills the space between dialogue and exploration. Now, some people worry because a number of developers from The Witcher 3 left to form their own studio, Rebel Wolves. But let's not panic. Studios evolve, people come and go. What matters is the foundation, and CD Projekt still has plenty of veterans on board. More importantly, the team responsible for Phantom Liberty, the cyberpunk expansion that not only revitalized that game, but also delivered one of the strongest narratives CD Projekt has ever crafted, is directly involved with The Witcher 4. That alone gives me immense confidence. If you've played Phantom Liberty, you know what I mean. The storytelling, the improvements to gameplay, the sheer polish. It's some of the best work they've ever done, and that DNA is now flowing into the new Witcher project. That's not just reassuring, it's exciting. And speaking of narrative, this is where things get really interesting. The Witcher 3 is often hailed as a masterpiece of storytelling, and rightfully so. But one of its limitations was the reliance on traditional dialogue techniques, that constant shot-reverse-shot rhythm. It worked, but it could feel repetitive. In the Witcher 4 demo, we witnessed something very different. Ciri transitioning seamlessly from gameplay to cinematic narrative without interruption. That, to me, is a massive statement of intent. It means the studio is blending the best of both worlds. The dense, character-driven storytelling of The Witcher with the cinematic complexity and style of cyberpunk. If they pull this off, we might be looking at one of the most immersive RPG experiences ever created. And while yes, there will still be moments of traditional framing, I'm confident they'll be handled with more elegance, more finesse, more artistry. Now let's tackle one of the most debated topics, Ciri's powers. Many people have asked, why is Ciri now a Witcher? Where did her powers go? For those who may have forgotten, Ciri's powers were absurdly overpowered, so much so that many assumed she could never be a playable protagonist. Her abilities were almost too strong, to the point of breaking any sense of balance. But the trailer revealed something surprising. Ciri no longer has her powers. Instead, she drinks potions and lives as a Witcher. At first glance, this feels strange, maybe even jarring. But if you dig into the lore, it actually makes perfect sense. Ciri never truly viewed her powers as a gift. They weren't a blessing, they were a curse, a source of endless pain and a conflict and danger. Those abilities brought misery into her life at every turn. So the idea that she would choose to shed them to free herself from that burden is not only plausible, it feels authentic. If she had found a way to rid herself of them, of course she would take it, without hesitation. The detail that raises eyebrows, though, is the implication that she went through the trial of the grasses. This is controversial because historically, the Witchers themselves decided to discontinue the practice. It was deadly for most who attempted it, and the risks were simply too high. So, Ciri choosing to undergo the trial, risking everything just to leave her powers behind and fully embrace the Witcher path, is fascinating. It's bold, it's tragic, and it's deeply in character when you consider her admiration for Geralt. She looked up to him as a father, as a mentor, as a symbol of resilience. Wanting to walk the same path he did, even at great cost, is perfectly in line with her heart. And honestly, as a narrative choice, it's brilliant. It gives her vulnerability. It strips her of the God mode problem and grounds her story in human struggle. She's no longer untouchable, she's relatable again. And that opens the door for real tension, real stakes, real danger. Watching how CD Projekt decides to explain and develop this will be fascinating, and I can't wait to see the layers unfold over the next few years. So, that's where we stand. The Witcher 4 is shaping up to be ambitious, risky, and, if all goes well, revolutionary. But now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments what you think of all this. Do you agree with me about Geralt's return being inevitable? Do you think Ciri shedding her powers makes sense, or does it feel like a stretch? I'm genuinely curious to hear your take. And of course, if you enjoy these kinds of deep dives, don't forget to show some love with a like and a subscription. It's the best way to let me know you want more, and trust me, there's plenty more to come. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one.